are advised that they may be subject to legal actions if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior and/or comments. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and also being live streamed, and that all or some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other people may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you may broadcast may be captured by the recording. The members of this committee are private citizens who are not members of council, nor are they employees. Committee members are provided with information about each application prior to the public hearing to enable them to review the sections of the township bylaws which are relevant and to make a site visit if needed. No discussion of applications occur, nor will any decisions be made outside of the public hearing. The procedure for the hearing is as follows. Firstly, the Secretary Treasurer will describe the application and the extent of its processing to date. Secondly, the applicant or agent will be asked for their comments. Thirdly, members of the audience will be asked for their comments. Fourthly, the applicant may then provide further information. And fifthly, committee members will then provide questions or comments to be followed by the decision of the committee. A written copy of the notice of decision will be sent to the applicant and anyone who provides the Secretary Treasurer with a written request, including their full name and address. Decisions of this committee may be appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal by the applicant, minister, or specified person or public body. The procedure is included with the notice of decision, and if you wish to be advised of a possible Ontario Land Tribunal hearing, you must request in writing a copy of this committee's decision. Once the application has been heard by the committee and the 20-day appeal period is ended, the application sign should be removed from your property. The sign can be returned to the township for reuse or recycling. Now I'm going to introduce the committee. To my left is, to my left is Dan Walker. Next to him is Tom Truax. To my far right is Chloe Black, and next to him is Joe Goff, and I, your chair, Randy Warren. Please address all comments to the chair and ensure that all cell phones are silenced to ensure that an orderly meeting is maintained. Okay, the next thing we have to do is any disclosure of pecuniary interest of any of the applications for any of the members of this committee. None is so noted then, for the record. And I guess we'll start off with the application. 4.2, minor variance file application A1723, 6640 Quarry Point Road. Do we have someone here that represents that? Mr. Hare? Yes. Thank you very much for coming. I guess I'll have the Secretary Treasurer read the report, and then you can make any comments after that.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to make sure that those that are online can now hear us, because we were having some issues with the volume prior.
Yes, we can.
Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen. Just one second. Okay. Can you also see my screen online? Because I can't see it on the council camera.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Jacob, the council chamber screen is not showing my screen share. Yeah, it's not showing on the council chamber screen that's up on the board. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we still are. No, it's not working. Okay, well, I can still talk about the application. We don't really need the visual aid, so it's just nice to have. So we are reviewing, hang on, let me just hide this guy. Minor variance application A1723, which is at 6640 Quarry Point Road. The owners are Diane and Stephen Hare. The purpose of the application is for a reduction in the setback to the high water mark to permit the construction of a new 2-story dwelling, deck, and steps. The proposal requires the following variances to the zoning bylaw. Setback from high water mark to the dwelling, proposed 12 meters. The requirement's 15, so they're looking for a variance of 3 meters. Setback to the deck is 8.4 meters, where the requirement is 13.5, so looking for a variance of 5.1 meters. And then the steps project into 7.8 meters from the high water mark, so a 5.7 meter reduction for the steps as well. Responses to circulation, the building department had no concerns. The infrastructure had no concerns and noted that this section of the road is private. The existing lot is 0.18 acres in size. So in order to accommodate the septic system location as per the Ontario Building Code, the structure must be placed closer to the lake than is permitted in the zoning bylaw. The owners have designed a 2-story home in an effort to reduce the footprint due to the small lot size. County of Simcoe official plan designates the lot as Greenlands. Township of Romero official plan and zoning bylaw designate the property as shoreline residential. As per staff report BP 4123, the application is consistent with the PPS, conforms to the growth plan, County and Romero official plan, and maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw. It is staff's opinion that the application can be supported as presented. If the committee decides to approve the application today, the following 4 tests can be considered met: that the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw is maintained, general intent and purpose of the OP is maintained, the requested variances are desirable for the appropriate development of the subject lands, and the request is minor in nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary Treasurer. Now, Mr. Hare, would you like to make any comments on the application? If you wouldn't mind, and just push the button to start the mic there. I think.
Okay. I mean, the comments that were made are consistent with the rationale for why we're requesting the minor variance. I mean, the lots are small. We need to be able to accommodate the septic system. As well, the shoreline is irregular, as you can see from the diagram, which also presents us with certain challenges. So consequently, the placement of the cottage reflects that.
Okay. Anything further?
Nothing unless there's any questions for me.
I guess I should ask anyone else in the audience or on Zoom that would have any comments on this particular application? I guess hearing none, then.
I'm seeing none on Zoom.
Thank you, Mr. Hare. We'll go around to our committee and see how they feel. Chloe, your opinion on this application?
I did a site visit. There's not much to see. The existing cottage is removed.
Yes.
So I looked at the maps, aerials throughout the years, and it doesn't look like this is an area that's prone to flooding. So I can appreciate needing to maintain the setbacks for the septic. And to me, this is a pretty standard home that's being built these days to accommodate large families and multi-generational families. So I'm in favor of the application. I don't think it's unreasonable.
Joel?
I too attended the site and I have no issues with the minor variance.
Dan?
I also did a site visit. I have no concerns.
Tom?
Yeah, I was out too and had a look around. I see no problem whatsoever. Just to accommodate a septic is more important than, some things, and I don't think the high water's ever going to get high enough to affect it there.
Well, I've been going up there for 60 years come September, and I've never seen the water get particularly high.
No.
It seems to be pretty controlled in the trend center.
Thank you. Yes, I visited the site. It only makes sense if there has to be a setback that it should be for the lake side and not the side where the septic's on. But the farther we keep the septic away from the lake, the better it is. So as you had already mentioned, Couchaging very seldom ever raises that much because it is controlled by dams and likes of that. So I think it's a pretty straightforward application, and I think it seems like all the committee are in favor of it. And if I could have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Joel Goff, second by Chloe Bach, that the application minor variance file be approved. All those in favor? That motion is carried. Thank you, sir, for joining us, and good luck with your endeavors.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Now, we'll continue on. Minor variance application A 1823-3011 Concession Road 7. Do we have someone here? Would you like to come up to the front, or just wait until the file is read, and then if you want to make comments, you can do that at that time? Okay, thank you very much. Then, Madam Secretary Treasurer, if you'd go ahead and read that then, please.
Yes, thank you. So this is minor variance file application A 1823. The location is 3011 Concession Road 7. Property owners are Haley and Jessamy Watson. The proposal is for the proposal is for sorry, I can't see my thing here. I might just not put it in big mode, and that might be better. There we go. I just want to make sure everyone online can see it. Okay, so the purpose of the application is to request recognition for the existing location of a garden suite that was put on the property in 2011. In the zoning bylaw for additional residential units, it states that the additional residential unit cannot be closer to the street than the principal dwelling on the lot. The subject property successfully obtained a temporary zoning bylaw amendment in 2011 for the placement of the garden suite, which included the allowance for the suite to be placed closer to the street than the main house due to the environmental sensitivity and agricultural operations on the lot. At the time, additional residential units were not permitted on agricultural property, so the owner would like to now move away from the garden suite temporary provision and make the unit a permanent additional residential unit. Just for those that can see online, I do have a picture up showing where the existing unit is in comparison to the house. It is a little bit closer to the road, but still quite far. The driveway on this property is pretty extensive. Comments received from staff, building department had no concerns, infrastructure department had no concerns. County of Simcoe official plan designation is Greenlands and agriculture. Township of Ramera official plan and zoning bylaw are also agriculture. As per staff report BP 4223, this application is consistent with the PPS and conforms to the growth plan, county and Ramera official plan, and maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw. It is the staff of opinion that the application could be supported. If the Committee of Adjustment deems it appropriate to approve this application, staff would recommend that a condition be placed on the approval, that the approval pertains only to the request as submitted with the application. The 4 tests can be considered met. The general intent of the purpose of the zoning bylaw, general intent of the purpose of the official plan, the requested variances are desirable for the appropriate use of the lands, and the variance is considered minor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Watson, would you like to make some comments, please?
Hi, good morning. The intent is to be able to pass this on to the next generation who we're looking at. When we built the garden suite in 2011, my in-laws currently occupy it, and we want them to continue occupying it, and then know down the road that we have a second dwelling to continue living as a family on the property is the goal. Any questions for me?
I guess I just have to ask if there's anyone else in the audience or on Zoom that would like to make any comments. Hearing none, I guess, Dan, your opinion on this application.
I also did a site visit, read the reports, and it's great to hear the story. I have no issues.
Thank you.
No, I have no issues. The setback's far enough from the road that you can't really tell anyway where everything is, so I have no problem with it.
Chloe?
I did a little drive-by, and I agree there's good distance between the road and the garden suite, and I figured if there hasn't been any issues in the last 12 years, then there isn't any now. So I'm in favor of the application with the recommended condition.
Joe?
I also did a drive-by. I'm familiar with the property, and I know what good stewards of the land your daughters and family are, because I remember from my time on council, you guys going around and picking up bags of garbage from along the road and litter. So I have no issues. And
Thank you for that
doing
sign, by the way.
Again, I have no issues with it either. Ontario wants more homes, and this is what they're asking for, and this is what you're trying to provide. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. Seems like we're all in favor. We have a mover, moved by Dan, second by Tom, that the application be approved. All those in favor? It seems like that motion is carried, and
Thank you very
and
much.
you're good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. Yeah. You're very polite. Okay, 4.4, moving on, minor variance file A1923, 2236 O'Neill Street. Do we have someone here to represent that?
Online, I'm here.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary Treasurer, would you like to read the report, and then you can make comments afterwards?
Okay.
Thank you. This is for minor variance application A1923. The location is 2236 O'Neill Street. The property owner is Trailview Homes Incorporated, care of Jack Steenhoff. The purpose of the application is to request permission of the Committee of Adjustment to allow tandem parking at the individual care facility located on the subject property. Zoning bylaw section 3.3A states that ingress and egress from required parking spaces must be from an unobstructed driveway or aisle of at least 3 meters. And tandem parking is only permitted in residential zones. So the request is to utilize tandem parking for the required 4 parking spaces used at the existing facility. The proposal is to add an additional bedroom than what currently exists, so it bumps up the parking requirement to 4 spaces, so they can no longer fit non-tandem parking on the lot. On the screen, which the site plan was submitted in the report, just shows the proposed parking with the 4 spaces in front of the individual care facility. Responses from circulation, the building department had no concerns. The infrastructure department had no concerns, noting that the parking is on private property. The County of Simcoe designation for the property is settlement. The Township of Ramera official plan and zoning bylaw designate the property as village residential. As per staff report BP 4323, the application is consistent with the PPS and conforms to the growth plan, County Ramera official plan, and it maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw. It is staff's opinion that the application could be supported. There's a recommended condition for the approval that the approval pertains only to the request as submitted with the application. The 4 tests for the minor variance have been met. The general intent of the zoning bylaw will be maintained. The general intent and purpose of the official plan will be maintained. The requested variances are appropriate for the development and use of the land, and the requested variance is minor in nature. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with the applicant, I'm sorry we can't see you, but we can hear you. If you would like to speak on the application at this time, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. For those of you who are not familiar with this building, our occupant is Helping Hands. So the residents that come to this building for a short period of time are recovering. They're usually seniors, and they're recovering from like a shoulder surgery or a knee surgery, and they just need assistance for a few weeks or months just to recover. And then once they're able to function again, they move on to their own address. So the occupants in this building are not driving vehicles. The only one that would be driving are the workers, which we're already able to accommodate the 1 to 2 vehicles that they have. Again, the only reason that we're required to do the 4 parking spaces is because we're adding that 10th bedroom. But again, the occupants do not drive. So we don't see there ever actually being the 4 vehicles in the driveway. Is there any other questions?
I don't believe so, unless if someone in the audience has any questions, or anyone else on Zoom that would like to speak, please do so now. Hearing none, I guess, thank you for your comments. We'll go around the committee here and get their feelings on the application. Chloe, your opinion, please.
So I did a site visit yesterday, I would say like midday in the peak of the day, and there wasn't one vehicle in the driveway, so I feel like if the driveway is large enough and can accommodate the 4 spaces if required, then I'm okay with the application with the tandem parking, so.
Joe?
I also did a site visit and came across the same thing. I think there was actually one vehicle in the driveway. I don't have an issue with it because you are providing services for helping people out, so.
Thank you. Dan?
I also did a site visit. I have no issues at all.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have no issues whatsoever.
Also did a site visit, I guess it was on Sunday, no, it was Saturday, and I believe there was one car in the lot at that time. As the applicant has mentioned, there's none of the guests in the home have cars there in the parking lot. It might be a visitor or something like that, and I can't see that. I've been by that many times every Sunday, and I come from church, and I've never seen very many cars ever there. So I think that it's an okay thing. It's just basically doing paperwork. That's what we're trying to do here. So it seems like we're all in favor. Joe, you'd like to move it? Chloe would second it. All those in favor? And that motion is carried. And thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, we can't see you, but we could hear you anyways.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're moving on. 4.5 minor variant application, 1258 Black Beach Lane. Do we have the applicant here for that?
On Zoom, I'm here.
Okay, great. That's as long as we know you're here. So I guess our secretary treasurer will read the report and you can make some comments after it's been read.
Thank you. This is minor variance application A 2023. The location is 1258 Black Beach Lane, and the owners are Darren and Sonia Tewin. The purpose of the application is for a request in the reduction in the setback to the high watermark setback to the high watermark to allow for the construction of a deck to the existing dwelling. The variance to the bylaw is a proposed 7.4 meters to the deck, which the zoning bylaw requirement is 15 meters, so be a variance of 7.6 meters. Minor variance application file A3821 was approved for the placement of the deck. However, after replacing the existing dwelling's foundation and the construction of an addition, the deck no longer met the provisions of the yard projections that were originally varied. The new deck has an increased height up to 2.79 meters, which requires the deck to meet the 15-meter setback as opposed to the 13.5 generally permitted in the yard projections. Just for those online, there's a sketch that was submitted that was available in the report. Background and comments, both the building department and the infrastructure department had no concerns. The County of Simcoe official plan designation designates this property as rural. The Township of Romero official plan and zoning bylaw designate the property as shoreline residential. As per staff report BP 4423, the application is consistent with the PPS, conforms to the growth plan, County of Simcoe official plan, Romero Township official plan, and it maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw. It is staff's opinion that the application can be supported as presented. The 4 tests have been met. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, sir, would you like to make comments on your application?
Just looking to complete our cottage run by adding our deck. That's about it, really.
Okay. Anything further from anyone else that might be on Zoom or in the audience? Hearing none. I guess, Dan, your comments, please.
I did a site visit. The sign was up. I have no other concerns.
Tom?
No, I have no concerns about the application.
Chloe?
I did a site visit. I walked down to the water and there's quite a good shelf built there with the armor stone. I counted 3 rows of armor stone that the water would need to rise, as well as quite a good distance uphill. So I don't foresee that ever happening. So I'm in favor of the application.
Joe?
I too did a site visit and did a walk around, and I have no issues with the application the way it is.
Thank you. Yes, I did a site visit, and I was there probably 2 years ago when the first application was presented. This is probably just really update of the first application, which didn't quite come to fruition as far as setbacks are concerned. And so unfortunately, you have to go through this process again. I have no problems with the application as it is presented. Seems like we're all on board here. Moved by Joe, second by Chloe, that the application be approved. All those in favor? And that application is carried. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Good luck with the rest of your project.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, I guess it's A523, A2123, 7094 Beach Drive. Do we have someone here to represent that? Great. Would you like to read, the secretary will read the report and then you can come forward and make any comments after that then? Go ahead then.
Great, thank you.
Madam Secretary
This
Treasurer.
is minor variance application A2123. Location is 7094 Beach Drive. Property owner is Sandra Elan Kosh and George Kosh. I hope I got that right. Okay. The purpose of the application is to request permission to allow for an increase in the maximum yard projections of the high watermark setback to permit the attached deck. The yard projection provisions allow for up to 1.5 meters. And the applicant is looking to project further into that. So the zoning bylaw requirement would require a 13.5 meter setback. The proposed is 8.99 meters for a variance of 4.51 meters. A minor variance was approved for the house renovation in 2002. The owners have decided to add a deck onto the rear of the dwelling that was planned to be removed in the original design. I do have an image for those online showing the deck design. The response to circulations, building department and infrastructure department both had no concerns, no comments received from the public. County of Simcoe official plan designates the property as rural. Township of Ramera official plan and zoning bylaw have the property designated as shoreline residential. As per staff report BP 4523, this application is consistent with the PPS, conforms to the growth plan, county and Township of Ramera official plans, and maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw. It is staff's opinion that the application can be supported as presented, and the 4 tests have been met. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir and ma'am, would you, or both, would you like to come make comments?
Big button. Yep. We used to have a deck and then we had some renovations done to the cottage and the old deck had to be removed to permit the renovations, and now we would like to put on another deck. Guess
Very
that's
good.
about it.
And
Thank
you
you.
for your comment. Anyone else on Zoom or in the audience that'd like to make a comment on this application? Hearing none. Chloe, your feeling on the application?
I did a site visit and based where the piles are, it looks like a fairly small deck. It doesn't look like anything crazy, so I have no issues with the application.
Thank you. Joe?
I did a site visit and I have no issues.
Dan?
I also did a site visit. I have no issues either.
Tom?
Yep, I was by and I have no issues at all.
Again, I was there too, and I have no issues really. It's basically Couching, we don't really have to worry about water heights and likes of that, and it doesn't fluctuate that greatly. And so I have no problem with this at all. I think we're all on board. Moved by Dan, second by Tom, that this application be approved. All those in favor, see your show of hands. This application is carried. Thank you, sir and ma'am, for coming with us, and sorry you had to wait so long this morning, but anyways, we got it done. Okay, next file, 4.7, 2898 Holiday Road, minor variance file A2223. Would you like to come now or wait till after the report's read? Okay, our Secretary Treasurer will read the report now.
Thank you. This is minor variance file application A2223. The location is 2898 Holiday Road. The property owners are Ferdinand Nazarian and Stephanie and Louisa. The purpose of the application is to request permission to allow for an increase in the maximum percentage of lot frontage that 2 entrances can cover in order to permit a second entrance on the property. Zoning bylaw section 33D3 states that not more than 2 driveways with a combined width not exceeding 30% of the lot frontage are permitted. The proposed lot, once the 2 entrances are permitted, will be a coverage of 49.85%. So they are asking for an increase in 19.35% in the frontage that can be covered. For those online, I do have an image that was submitted with the application in the report showing the proposed entrances and the grading. So the zoning bylaw regulates the frequency of entrances. The reason for this is to discourage the construction of driveway entrances more frequently than required. We want to ensure that there's safe and reasonable use of the entrances, and we also take into consideration sightlines, patterns, drainage, utilities when reviewing the placement of entrances. The subject property holds a multi-generational home, which will enable the subject property holds a multi-generational home, and the configuration of the entrance will allow for the elderly family to drive in and out of the property more effectively, as opposed to backing out onto the street to improve safety. Comments received from circulation, the building department and the infrastructure department had no concerns with the proposal. The County of Simcoe official plan designates the property as rural. The Township of Ramara official plan and zoning bylaw designate the property as shoreline residential. As per staff report BP 4623, the application is consistent with the PPS, conforms to the growth plan, county and township official plan, and maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw. It is staff's opinion that the application can be supported as presented. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, would you like to come forward and make any comments you wish to it now?
So the reason of this entrance, it will be for my parents.
Did you push the button in the middle? It's on it? Good. Okay. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt.
For them, it will be easy to get to the main entrance. Like from the driveway, it will be maybe 15 meters. From there, it will be 5, 6. And arthritis, it's a little bit difficult for them.
Okay, it's understandable. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, thank you. I did a site visit. I have no issues. I understand the reasoning behind it, being a circular driveway and a not multi-family, but multi-generational. It makes sense. So I have no issues.
Chloe.
I also did a site visit, and I agree. I can appreciate the intent. Where the driveway is now, it is quite a distance from the garage where you can park to the front porch. So I also have an elderly grandmother and that would be quite a distance for her. So I also think that this driveway would be more attractive with the new dwelling, and Holiday Road is quite a small, unbusy road, so I can't foresee any issues with the level of traffic that goes down that road, which is basically none. So I'm in favor of this application.
Thank you, Chloe. Dan. Tom.
Yeah, I drove by, had a look, and with the circular driveway, I can see the safety issues, so I think it's great.
Also, I was by too, and I think anytime we don't have to back out on the road is a good safety measure, basically, because that's where most accidents, collisions can happen, is backing out when your sight lines are obstructed by the back end of the vehicle. So I have no problem with this application as it's been submitted, and I think it'll make it a safe entrance to that road, even though it is very little traffic on Holiday Road. But anyways, I'm good. Seems like we're all in favor. Motions. I'm gonna go for for Tom and Chloe this time. All those in favor. That application has been carried. Thank you, sir, for joining us this morning. Moving on. Minutes of the last meeting have July the 4th. Has everyone had a chance to read them? Yeah. And are there any errors, admissions, or addendums, whatever needs to be done at this time? Seeing none, then I would ask for a motion for the carrying, or at least the acceptance of the minutes. So who we got here now? Joe and Chloe, I guess. All those in favor? And that is carried. New or unfinished business that might become before the committee. Is there anything at this time?
No, we don't really have anything. Staff started the open houses for the official plan update this week. So we're hoping to have an official plan that's ready to be presented for adoption once the final changes to the provincial policy statement come into effect. Once the OP is drafted, we are going to start also working on the zoning bylaw. So if the committee can think of anything in the zoning bylaw that you'd like to see changed, or any improvements or any other ideas, we're always open to listening to those, as you guys work with. I know we work with them too, but it's nice to get some outside perspective. So as you're reading through that document for fun, if you see anything, let us know, because we're going to be hopefully updating all of our documents within the next couple of years, which would be great.
So this will be finalized within a year's time, probably, or give or
So
take?
the official plan is going to be drafted so that it is ready once the province finalizes their new provincial planning statement. So we're
Okay.
kind of writing the new OP as if it's going through as is. We will be working with the county of Simcoe as well to make sure that a lot of the elements of their official plan are within our official plan, because they will be losing their planning authority. So how that will happen is once they lose their planning authority, we'll have to use their OP and our OP. So we've been working with them to try to combine the two documents so that when everything's all said and done, we can already say there's consistency here and there will be nothing changed, so we don't have to use two documents. So we've heard that the provincial planning statement will go through in the fall, but then we've also heard rumblings that it won't happen until January. So really the timing will just depend on when that provincial policy is finalized, because we won't adopt our updated OP until that's finalized, but we'll have it at the ready.
Okay, well, that's good information.
Yes,
It
20
would be
years.
Nice to get the township and county official plans basically incorporated, so we're not, the zoning bylaws are so much different from county to township, it isn't even funny, you know, and run into that all the time. Okay, go ahead, Chloe.
Last month, Carissa mentioned following up with the deferred application for buyers. Do we have an update on that one?
That's the one on Lake, right?
Yeah, Lake Avenue or.
Or
yeah,
Bridge.
Ridge, sorry,
yeah.
yes. Yeah, so we have a couple of applications that have deferred, and we've reached out to them, but we haven't heard back.
Okay.
So we are going to follow up with them again and see. We did go through just to see how many have been deferred versus not deferred. But we haven't heard anything back.
Okay.
Okay, anything further, or if not, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Joe, seconded by Chloe at 10:22. All in favor, yes.